All right. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome everyone to RSTO 2301. This is the Principles of Food and Beverage Cost Control. Okay. My name is Mr. Uminski. Raise your hand if you have not had me in class as a teacher before. Okay, cool. Hey, you're not telling the truth. All right, so I am the director of the hotel and hospitality management programs. So here we have culinary arts, baking and pastry arts, restaurant management, hotel management, and hospitality management. So I oversee more of the management side of our programs. And I'll give you a little bit of an introduction to myself here in just a moment. For those of you who are not familiar, have not had me for class before. You'll notice this little green bar right here. Okay. Um, and there's a little recording icon, a little circle with a red dot on the middle. I live record all of my lectures, okay, through Zoom. And then I will post the recording in Canvas after class is done. So if you miss class, you can go back and watch the recording, okay? If you maybe need to go back and see how we worked through a specific math problem, you can go back and do that. A lot of times when I give homework, I might do the first example, the first question on the homework as an example. So again, you can go back and watch how we did it step by step and then be able to do the rest of your homework. Okay. The best way to get a hold of me is through email. Okay. You can send me a message on Canvas as well. It goes to my email, so that's fine. But email is the best way. I never answer my phone. Okay. I think I have something like 35 unread or unheard messages on my voicemail right now. It's mostly spam calls. And so I just don't answer my phone. So the best way to get a hold of me is my email address. Okay. If you email me and you haven't heard from me in 24 to 48, let's say 48 hours, okay, just send me a gentle nudge reminder email. Hey, Mr. Uminski, did you see my email from 2 days ago? Okay. I just got back from a conference. I was in Houston last week, from Sunday to Friday. Okay. When I got to work today, I had about 600 unread emails. And I deleted about 400 that were just from last Monday to today. And so I get a lot of emails. And so sometimes it just accidentally gets buried. So it's not intentional. It's just that things get buried sometimes. Okay. All right. So a little bit about my education background. I was a student here at St. Philip's College. I started in the year 2000, 25 years ago, as a culinary arts major. In my basic food preps class, I chopped the tip of my thumb off when I was dicing an onion. I had to go to the emergency room. I zested my middle finger when I was zesting a lemon. So, onion. This week I was absent. Zested my middle finger. This was cleanup week, and this was final exam week. And so I decided, you know what, me and sharp objects, we're not going to get along. So I want to do the front of the house. So at the time I was working at a little burger place called Chester's Hamburgers. I had learned all the different stations and I decided to go and get a job at, I wanted to be a server so I could learn the front of the house. I worked at TGI Fridays. I first applied at Denny's and IHOP and they both did not hire me because I had no experience. Well, how do you get experience if nobody's going to hire you, right? And so I gave it one more shot. I went to TGI Fridays, and they hired me as a server. And then 1 month after I was hired, I was on the opening team of a brand new store. One month after I was hired, I was named by the corporate trainers that come and like open the stores. I was named, me and my friend Christy were named like the lead servers of the store. So of course I wanted to go back to Denny's and IHOP and be like, suckers, you missed out. I'm the lead trainer, and I'm the lead server. But I did it because I'm a professional. And then about 8 months later, I went to the Cheesecake Factory and I got my job. I'll talk about my job history in just a moment. But ultimately, I ended up coming back to St. Philip's College because all the credits that I took as a culinary major, they transferred right over to hotel management. I didn't lose a single credit. And so that's why we have our programs designed the way we do. If you notice, all of our programs have pretty much the same first semester. So if you get in, you're like, you know what, this really isn't for me. Don't stop hospitality, just maybe figure out a different area of hospitality that might be a better fit. Okay. So I came back, I earned my degree in 2009 for hotel management, got my certificate. And then in 2010, 1 year later, I earned my event management degree, which we no longer offer. It's called just hospitality management now, just in general. But it used to be specific for event management. From there, I decided to go on and get my bachelor's degree in business from the Texas A&M University San Antonio. I am a firm, strong believer in things happen on their own timeline. Okay. If I had gone through school, they wouldn't have had event management back when I started in 2000. A&M San Antonio wasn't a thing. Okay. And so the fact that I took some time off and then came and I did event management, and events is what I did for the majority of my industry experience as a professional. So I would be on a completely different track. I don't know if it's better or worse, but completely different. Then once I started teaching here at St. Philip's in 2015, I was encouraged to go and get a master's degree. I did that from the University of North Texas. I got a master's degree in hospitality management. And most recently, in 2024, I started working on my doctorate degree from the Grand Canyon University. I'm working on a doctorate degree for higher education leadership, which will put me on a trajectory to go into administration and maybe be president of the college someday. I don't know. I don't know where my career is going to go from here, but I hope to finish my doctorate in December of 2026. So the end of this year, I hope to be done. I am currently working on my dissertation. Who is not familiar with what a dissertation is? Okay, so my dissertation is probably going to end up being anywhere from 250 to 300 pages. I'm basically writing a 5 chapter book, and it's all focused on management and leadership and mentorship. So, yeah, so I'm in the process of doing that right now. So I am also in school. Um, so I can relate to some of the things of balancing school, work, home, personal lives. It's really tough. It can be really tough. Okay. So my industry experience, the main piece of industry experience that I use that's related to this class specifically is the Acadia Institute of Oceanography. I was the cook for 7 summers up in Maine at Acadia National Park as a small private summer camp. It focused on oceanography, which I know nothing about because I got a D in biology when I was in college. But I was the cook. And so I basically prepared breakfast and dinner for 50 to 60 people a day. I got to plan my menus. I had to order my food. I had to work within my budget. And then I had to prepare the food. I had to make sure my inventory didn't go bad. And then I had to prepare the food and then reorder. Okay. And so a lot of times throughout the class, you'll probably hear me say, this one time in Maine, that's what I'm referring to, is when I was the summer camp cook up in Maine. I also worked at the La Quinta Inn and Suites as an intern downtown. So I did front desk and housekeeping. The Sheraton Gunther Hotel, which is now just the Gunther Hotel. If you are not familiar, who's not familiar with the Gunther Hotel? Okay, I love hotels. The Gunther Hotel just underwent a $59 million renovation. And it is absolutely stunning. It's downtown, right across the street from the Majestic Theater. They also have in the Sheraton, or sorry, I keep calling it Sheraton. It's just the Gunther. In the Gunther Hotel, they also have the Paris Baguette, which is it's a franchise for Paris. It's like Parisian baked goods, croissants. What's that? It's brand new. It opened in December. Yeah.
I went there.
So they just opened in December. Um, it's pretty amazing. Um, and so if you are interested and or looking for places to work if you're baking and pastry, that would be a great place to go and get some experience at the Paris Baguette. Because not only is that one going to be there at the Gunther Hotel, but the owner of the hotel, I think she signed an agreement for 3 more locations in San Antonio. So even if working downtown isn't your cup of tea, maybe there's going to be a Paris Baguette in a different part of town. And so they're going to start having to staff those. The majority of my industry experience, so these were my 2 jobs when I was a student in college. Okay. Yeah, I had 2 jobs when I was also managing school, but I don't have kids, I don't have a family, so it's all good. Rio Cibolo Ranch was my main industry experience. I worked there for 4 years. I planned parties, anywhere from 20 people on up to 2,000 people. It just depended on the group and what they needed. Bless you. Anything from reunions, family picnics, company picnics, team building, weddings, conference groups that would come in and we do a full rodeo for them. So that was my job as an event planner, was to take all the details, sell it, but then also make sure it happened according to schedule. So that was my job there. After 4 years and after doing weddings for a year, I had to give it up because I couldn't handle the mothers of the brides. They were just a little too much. And so I ended up getting a job at a company called Adventures in San Antonio. Adventures in San Antonio is a destination management company, a DMC. And so with Adventures in San Antonio, my job became people are coming to San Antonio and they're staying at a hotel, but they also need things to do. They need places to go out to eat. Maybe there's like a group of 40 people coming, or maybe there's 100 people. I don't know. Whatever the group needed. And that was my job. It was more on the corporate side in conventions. So I did things like planning private paintball sessions at a paintball area, getting lunches, getting food trucks, getting coffee trucks, going out to eat to different restaurants, making those reservations, and doing all those planning. Even things like organizing transportation to and from the hotel, from the airport. So I would do all those details and handle that. So that's the majority of my industry experience. The last thing on here is the Alamo Area Hospitality Association. AHA is the acronym for Alamo Area Hospitality Association. And I put that on there because in 2008, I was a student here at St. Philip's and I earned the $500 AHA scholarship. And then in 2010, when I became an industry professional with Rio Cibolo Ranch, I became the AHA representative for Rio Cibolo. So I would have to go to all the luncheons and have to go and promote the company to all the industry members. So I became involved with that organization. In 2012, they asked me to be on the board of directors. So I reluctantly accepted because I thought that was for old people and I can't be on a board of directors because I'm not that old. Um, and ultimately, I got on the board of directors, and in 2014, I was the president of the association. And then I was giving the scholarship back to St. Philip's College on behalf of the organization. So it's a very full circle organization for me. In addition to that, because I've stayed active with the organization, back in 2024, there became an opportunity for me to be president again. And so I stepped up and served again as president in 2024. And so last year, I finished my last year on the board of directors. So what I recommend, the reason why I put that on there, whether you're culinary, hospitality, baking and pastry, does not matter. There's an association related to your career goals. And I would not be where I am today. I would not have the professional network that I have today if I was not a member of some kind of organization. So go out and find something and then get active and be involved with that. All right, so let's do some class introductions. If you would tell us your name, your degree, if you have a favorite restaurant or food, you can share with that. And then a fun fact about yourself. So I'll share a fun fact about me. 2.5 years ago, I decided to start growing my beard, and I have not cut it since. And the day they call me Dr. Uminski from Grand Canyon University is when I will shave my beard. So if you come back to school and I have no beard, that's your cue to call me Dr. Uminski. My friends think I'm weird, but I have to I have to do what I call is the visual representation of the passage of time. Continue recording, just like that. Um, I have been known to go on to the whole rest of the class and not record it. But luckily, I teach this class 3 times this semester. So I might just give you another class's lecture if that happens. All right. So the reason why I do this is because there are still classmates that I met at St. Philip's that I interact with the industry. They still ask me for help. I still ask them for advice on what's happening in the industry. We still stay connected. This is your time to start building your professional network in the classes that you are working with, the students or your classmates that you're working with. So use this as an opportunity. If you heard something from somebody else about something that you're interested in, something you have in common, or something that you'll notice that sometimes I'll ask a follow-up question. That's how networking, that's how you get more information and get to know people and develop those relationships on a professional level. Okay. The best way to navigate through Canvas in any of my classes is to go through the modules. Okay. Everything is organized by the modules. So let's take a look real quick at our Canvas class. All right. So a couple things I want to point out on the home screen. My contact information and my email and my office are right here. So my office is room 304. It's just right over right across the hall. And so please feel free to come by and chat with me if you need to. When we look at the modules, the first thing you're going to see in the modules is my office hours. Okay. So all of your faculty, all of your teachers, outside their door will have a document that will look something like this. Something like this. There we go. Oh, it's still processing. Okay. So it'll have a document. It'll show when they're in class. It'll show when they're here on campus. It'll also show the office hours. Okay. Office hours are times when we are literally just sitting in our office waiting for you to come talk to us. Let me just open it up this way. That might be faster. We are sitting in our office literally waiting for you to come talk to us. So on Wednesdays from 3:30 to 5:30, I'm just in my office. Okay. What do you think you should come and talk to me about during my office hours? Possibly your grades. Okay, that is one thing. Yep, I have students that do that. What else?
Questions about the work.
Questions about homework or questions about assignments. Absolutely. What else?
Like job opportunities.
100%. Okay. I maintain my network and I maintain my connections in San Antonio. Oh my gosh, what happened? That marker just was it the marker or the pen? I think it was the pen that exploded. All right, sorry. I get distracted easily. I just want to make sure it's not on my clothes though. But I maintain my professional network in San Antonio because y'all need jobs after school. And so that's one main reason why I maintain my professional network is so that I can connect you with future job opportunities. That's a great opportunity. We do have a job board. It's right outside my office, around the corner from my office. We keep that pretty much updated. So you can always go and take a look at that. If it is a hotel that's on that job board, it's on that job board because I know someone at that hotel. So if you fill out an application, you can say, hey, Ms. Shuminsky, I filled out an application for the Omni Hotel. Great. What position was it? And then you tell me, and I get on my computer and I email Jennifer and I say, hey, Jennifer, Anne Marie just applied for this position. Can you be on the lookout for her application? Okay. So that's how those connections work. Okay. So office hours. What else? Anything else? Do you all have your classes mapped out for the rest of the time until graduation? No, some of you don't. Come talk to me. Okay. I know the curriculum. I know the program. I know which classes are offered only in the spring or which classes are only offered in the fall. I would hate for you to miss a class and then not have to wait for then have to wait a whole year to graduate because you missed a class that was only offered in one semester. Okay. So come talk to us. You have advisors and they're wonderful, but they don't know the intricacies of our scheduling. So always come talk to a faculty member if you have questions. Okay. But office hours are just that. Okay. Class hours, this is when I'm in class. So obviously I won't be at my office. These work hours are when I'm typically on campus. So if it's outside my class hours, I'm usually going to be there. Okay. So if my office hours don't work for you, then you can set up an appointment. I'm always happy to do that. All right. So let's go back to Canvas. So one thing, and you'll notice on my office hours, it had a QR code at the top. That is a QR code to my virtual Zoom office hours. So if I'm supposed to be in my office and for whatever reason I'm not, if maybe I'm off campus, you can usually log into Zoom. Okay. These are all my office hours Zoom links. So you just got to click that link. It'll take you to my office hours Zoom. So you don't have to come to campus if you don't want to. You can just log in from Canvas. Okay. The next module, I will post all of our live recorded lectures. Okay. Um, and then we'll go through here, do the whole orientation. I do need to update this calendar. I apologize. I put the wrong calendar in this class. So I will update that document before I leave tonight. Okay. So let's talk about our calendar. I know we already talked about it a little bit, but let's talk about our calendar while we're on the topic. So the weeks are listed out, weeks 1 through 8 on the front, weeks 9 through 16 on the back. Okay, full 16 weeks. You'll notice that this week and next week, I made a note that said class should conclude by 8 p.m. Okay, so that's my goal for tonight and next week. The reason why we are concluding at 8 p.m. tonight and tomorrow or next week is because I like to keep my classes together. Okay, I teach this class on Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday, Thursday, and then Wednesday night. So whatever I do on Monday is what I do on Tuesday and the first half of our class up until 8 o'clock. And then whatever I do on Wednesday is what I do on Thursday, which is the second half of our class on Wednesday night from 8 to 9:30. Okay. So that's how that works. The reason also why I tell you that is because Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, this class I teach at 2 o'clock to 3:15. So 2 o'clock to 3:15 in this classroom. If you know you're going to be absent on a Wednesday night, you can come to my Monday class or you can come to my Tuesday class. You just have to remind me that you're in my Wednesday night class so I can update your attendance. Okay. If you know that you have to leave early and you're going to miss the second half of class, well, you can come on Thursday at 2 o'clock and I'll update your attendance. Okay. So I'm pretty flexible when it comes to when you attend my class because there's 40 seats and there's no class that I have that's close to 40. So I'm pretty comfortable inviting anybody to come to any class. Okay. Let's go back to our presentation. So again, Monday, Wednesday, I forgot to put my Tuesday, Thursday, but so basically Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, all 4 days from 2 to 3:15, I'm in this classroom. Okay. And then Wednesday nights. The district policy says that you can miss up to 2 weeks worth of classes before we drop you from your courses. Okay. Now, I'm not going to automatically drop somebody from this class just because you've missed 2 times. Okay. That's up to you. You're an adult. If you think you can get caught up, then I'll leave that decision up to you. If you feel like you've missed enough that you need to drop and take the class again, I'll leave that up to you. Okay. But because our class only meets once a week, that means you can miss 2 weeks worth of classes. So that's 2 class periods. That's it. Okay. Um, talk about decorum here for a moment. I don't mind. Um, let's see. Let me back up for a second. With our speech and how we talk. Okay. Obviously, we don't want to be derogatory against anybody else. We want to be respectful of everybody. I also know that the culinary side of our world, the back of the house, has a little more colorful language than the front of the house does. And so I prefer to think of this class as a front of the house class. So we're not going to swear, we're not going to use foul language. If I hear it, I'm just going to say, hey, language. And if it becomes an issue, then we'll have a conversation. Okay. Um, please be on the practice of that. The other thing too is if you want to wear your chef uniform, you are more than welcome to wear your chef uniform. Okay. But it needs to be the full uniform or no uniform. Okay. So full uniform means button to the top, just like Damien has. Okay. Technically, you should also have a white undershirt under your chef uniform. Okay. So please keep that in mind. What we really want is to demonstrate a level of professionalism with your uniform. Okay. When I was a student, we had y'all have these like nice little sleek black bags, right? That has all your tools and everything in it. We had a literal toolbox when I was a student here in 2000. It was this giant red toolbox. So you saw everybody walking to school with their red toolboxes and their chef uniforms. Okay. Have a sense of pride. We are an exemplary program with the American Culinary Federation. There are programs that are jealous of our building and the equipment and the facilities that we have and the classes that we teach. And so take ownership of that. Take pride in that you're part of something that is really cool. So assignments. Oops, sorry, that should say Wednesday. I forgot to update that. Your assignments are almost always due at 8 a.m. on Wednesdays. Okay. How many of you have a professor who has a due date at 11:59 p.m.? Okay. I can guarantee you that I am not up at 11:59 p.m. waiting to grade your homework. Okay. So a lesson that I learned when I was in grad school at North Texas was sometimes because of work and school and personal life, sometimes I'd have to do my homework at 2 o'clock in the morning. And that's just the way it was. Well, if the due date is 11:59 p.m. and you're working at 2 o'clock, well, then you're late. Your work is late. I'm not up at 11:59. So what's the difference? So a solution that I created that has really helped reduce the amount of late work is I consider 8 a.m. on the first day of our class as like our new work week or our new class week. Okay. So since we meet on Wednesday at 8 a.m., most of your assignments will be due. There's be a few exceptions, but most of them will be 8 a.m. on Wednesdays. Okay. Participation in this class. We are meant to have discussion. So when we're talking about a topic, and maybe you went to go out to eat and you experienced something you want to share with the class that's related to the topic, great. That's awesome. I've got stories, but I'm sure you'll have stories as well. There are videos. So when you go into Canvas, for example, here in Module 1, where it says Chapter 1, Lesson 1, Chapter 1, Lesson 2, those are pre-recorded lectures and videos that you can watch, that you should watch, okay? They follow along the textbook. So if you don't want to read the textbook, if you're like me, I hate reading textbooks. I'm a teacher and I hate reading textbooks, okay? So I created videos for you. So you don't have to read the textbook. The textbook, I would recommend that you get it so you can use it as a point of reference and you can go back and maybe read the section, like one small section you're still trying to find information about. But For the most part, you just watch these videos. I tried to keep them between 7 to 15 minutes, no more than 15 minutes. Okay. Somebody once told me I couldn't have a video longer than 3 minutes. And I was like, I'm not going to go back and re-record it. So y'all get 7.5 to 15 minutes. While I am on here, the other thing you'll see is with each chapter, there's an in-class discussion notes. Okay. This in-class discussion notes page basically follows my in-class lecture. Okay. If you print this out and follow along while I'm teaching, if you want to have your computer open and make the notes digitally, that's fine too. It doesn't matter to me. But if you take this completed notes page, you complete the notes at the end of the lecture is done, you upload it to this extra credit assignment right here, the completed copy of this, upload it to the extra credit. I will give you for every chapter, I will give you 0.25 points on your final average. Okay. We have 10 chapters. So what is 10 times 0.25? 2.5. So if you have an 88 average and you've done all 10 chapters, then I will bump you up to an A. Okay. This extra credit is designed to get people up to that next grade level if they're really close. It is not designed to take you from a 45 up to a 72. Okay. It's just not going to happen. But this is what you should be doing anyways. You should be doing these notes, regardless of extra credit or not. But this is the only extra credit I give. Okay. Please do not come to me at the end of the semester and say, what extra credit can I do? That's it. That's all I do. Okay. I will get due dates assigned to all of these by this weekend, so you can kind of see. The due dates are on your calendar, on the far left side. So the due dates are on the calendar, but I will get them uploaded to Canvas as well for you. Okay. The last thing before I go back to the PowerPoint presentation, I forgot to mention. So you'll notice on the home page. Nope. All right. So you notice my office hours link is right here. So that's my Zoom office hours. The link right below it, click here to log into the Zoom class. Okay. This class, RSTO 2301, is the only class in our department that is approved to be taught in a high flex model. Okay. Hybrid model. Has anybody ever heard of hybrid model? So hybrid model is where maybe on maybe this week we'll be here in person, and then next week you'll have an online assignment to do, and then the next week we'll be back in person, and then you do online, right? So it kind of flops back between the two. High flex, which is what this class is going to be. High flex says you get to decide where you want to attend class. You still have to be here at 6:45. But here can mean in this classroom. Here could also be me logged in on Zoom. So the Zoom that I'm logged into right now, starting next week, you can actually log into Zoom with this link. We'll start at 6:45. And then as long as the participation stays high, but if I start asking questions and nobody's participating online because you have your camera turned off and you're doing something different than actually being in class, then I'll cancel it and everybody's got to come back face to face. Okay. But y'all are adults. I can trust you. You can log into Zoom. So next week, you don't even have to come back to St. Philip's for this class. Okay. I especially like it for this night class because some people have an hour drive or a 45-minute drive after this. Okay. And so by coming late at night, sometimes that's really challenging. So you can log in on Zoom. Okay. The only other time, and if you want to mark this on your calendars, you can. The only other time we have to be in person, that's mandatory to be in person, is week 15 and week 16 for the final exam and our final exam review. That's the only other time that it's mandatory to be in person. Beyond that, you can log in on Zoom or you can come. And you can decide
You can come sometime.
Yeah, you can decide. Okay, this week, you know what? I've done online for 2 weeks and I don't get it as much as I do if I'm in person. So I'm going to go back to going in person. Okay. So you can decide to switch it up. I'm going to take attendance either way. Okay. Questions about the high flex. This is the only class that we do that for because I've taken time to do extra training to be able to offer it that way. You're welcome.
Question.
Thank you. Thank you.
So like you'll just be on screen like the other people like.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So I'll share my screen, just like you'll be able to see the screen, just like here.
Yeah.
And I use, you'll see in just a moment, I use PowerPoint to write on the screen. So all my writing is done on the screen. Yep. I love technology. All right. So using your fingers, 1, 2, 3, or 4, show me how you would complete this sentence. How would you fill in the blank? 1, 2, 3, or 4? There's no right or wrong answer. I see some 4s, that's okay. I see some 1s, I see some 3s. Good, I see some 2s as well. Awesome. Okay, now fill in the blank. 1, 2, or 3. So there's not a 4 option. Okay. What is the difference? What's the overall tone and difference between this question and this question? It's more positive. If you say I'm bad at math, I suck at math, guess what? You're going to suck at math. If you say I can't do math, guess what? You're not going to do math. Okay? There is psychology behind that positive thinking. Now, if you're like, I'm going to be the best world's mathematician, maybe I might need to like calm down your expectations a little bit. Okay. So that's why I put at least appreciate. In this class, I want you to be able to at least appreciate how you're going to use math in your careers, in your successful careers in hospitality. Okay. We're going to skip these. Who wants some money? All right. Full disclosure, I'm not going to give any money tonight. Okay. But let me tell you a quick story. I had a student who in 2018 did his internship, his practicum. He was an assistant general manager at a Panda Express restaurant. Okay. By 2020, he was a general manager. So within 2 years, he was promoted to general manager. I invited him to come speak to my cost control class to talk about his experience of being a student and then going into management and then ultimately a general manager. And one of the things he shared with my students was in his first year as a general manager, because he implemented concepts that he learned about in this class, RSTO 2301, he earned a $10,000 bonus at the end of the year because he was able to reel in the cost and the spending to the point where he was successful and he earned a larger profit, which meant his bonus was bigger. So by taking the things that he learned in this class, he got a $10,000 check. He didn't give me any of it, but that's okay. That's beside the point. I'm just kidding. I don't expect that. But so before we move on to doing some math, I know I heard a groan. It's okay. You'll be fine. Take a moment to just stop and think about how, when you have a thought, how you might be able to change that into something more positive. Okay. How you might be able to kind of flip that perspective and say, okay, you know what? I'm horrible at math, but I can try. I can put in the effort to at least appreciate math and how I'm going to do it. Okay. So think about that as you go throughout this week. How you might, if you find yourself getting really frustrated, stop, take a breath, and then think about what you can do to maybe change and shift that mindset. All right, so let's do some math. So what I would recommend is you can use this little notepad or this little piece of paper if you want to for your name tent. Or you can use your notes page if you want to. That's fine too. Okay. But what I would recommend is that you divide your paper in half down the middle. Whatever you're going to do, this is already easy, already nicely divided in half. So that's why I recommend you might use this. But you're not taking this with you. So if you want this for your notes, you can just put it in your regular. Just draw a line down the middle. Okay. I have pencils up here. I recommend pencil for math. I do not recommend pens. So if you want to come get a pencil, you're more than welcome to. One other thing I forgot to mention earlier, there's some snacks on the shelves over here. You are more than welcome to help yourself to any of those snacks. Okay. Full disclosure, the cheese and peanut butter crackers are from last semester. They expired in December. But I had one yesterday and they tasted fine, and I'm still here today. But yeah, so feel free to eat and take whatever snacks you want. I will restock it periodically, so don't go crazy. But if you need a snack, if you need a little sugar, pick me up. There's usually something over there. You can help yourself. You don't have to ask. Okay. All right. In this class, throughout the semester, we are going to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. That is it. Okay. We're not finding the slope of a line. We're not doing any kind of tangents or cosine or trigonometry. Okay. We are adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Okay. Algebra. What are we always trying to solve for in algebra? X, right? Well, it's because we don't know what X is. But in our class, we know what X is. We know what the variable that we're looking for is. That's what I'm gonna demonstrate here with this activity. What time is it? 42. Ooh, I was supposed to get a 10-minute warning. Okay, we're gonna go through this pretty quickly. We might go maybe like 8:05, 8:10. Okay. So on the left-hand side, the left-hand column of your paper, do this math right here. 36 divided by 4 equals, and write your answer. Okay. 36 divided by 4 equals what?
9.
9. 9 what? It's a good question. I'm glad you asked. Let's talk about it. How many 4-ounce portions will we get from a 36-ounce bag of salad mix?
9.
Same numbers, right? The difference, though, is that these numbers have units. Okay, 36 ounces divided by 4-ounce portion equals 9 servings. These numbers mean something. These numbers have life, they have meaning. Okay. Up here, it's just 9. We don't know what 9 is. Down here, 36 divided by 4 is 9 servings. You can picture a bag of salad mix, and each section is 4 ounces. Okay. So that's what that's what I want to challenge you with. If you have this mentality of I'm bad at math, is take a moment to stop and visualize what you're doing. Give these numbers some meaning. Okay. 15 minus 13. 2. All right. If we yield 13 pounds from a 15-pound case of tomatoes, how much product did we lose in the prep? Okay. So again, our units, 15 pounds we start with. We subtract the 13 pounds that we have left over, and that means we lost 2 pounds. Okay. So we're making tomato concasse, right? What's the process to make tomato concasse? You got to core it and then peel the skin and then get the seeds out, right? How many of you have not taken Chef 1301? That's basic food prep. Or are you in it right now? Okay, that's fine too. Right? So you'll learn that in basic food prep. You make the little X on the bottom of the tomato, you core it, drop it in that little simmering water, the skin peels off, right? That skin, that core, those seeds, they weigh something. They weigh part of that 15 pounds. But am I selling that? No. But I paid for it. And so I only have 13 pounds left over. And so what's really important as we're controlling our costs is to understand how we can price our menu items appropriately in order to account for that loss. Okay, same numbers, different math. 13 divided by 15 is, you can use a calculator. Point.
0.867.
So 8, 6 repeating, right? Okay, 0.8, 6, and then all the repeating. Okay, cool. So I'm doing 4 decimal numbers. I'm going to show you why here in just a minute. 4 decimal numbers. I rounded that last 6 up to 7. So what is our percentage yield if 13 pounds of tomatoes remain from a 15-pound case? Okay, percentage yield. Everybody write this in your notes because this is on a homework assignment. Percent is equal to part over divided by the whole. Part divided by the whole. Anytime you have a question that's asking about percentage, you have a question that's about the part divided by the whole. Okay? The second step is to multiply by 100. Okay? So let's put this back in the context of our math problem. 13 pounds is the part, right? Because that's what's left over. Divided by 15 pounds, which is the whole. That gives me 0.867. Okay? This times 100. How many zeros are in 100? 2. So I'm going to move that decimal place over 2 spots. And I'm going to get 86. And now I'm going to decide, am I going to round this 6 up or does that stay the same? I'm going to round it up, right? Because the 7 is higher. So my answer is 86.7%. On your percentages, you should always have at least 1 decimal. Okay? Because 86.7 is a very different number than 87% as a whole number. You may not think about it if you're talking about something that costs $15. But if you're talking about your sales that are $3 million, that 0.3 makes a huge difference. Okay? So always 1 decimal on percentages. And this is the universal formula for percentage. The universal formula for percentage is part divided by the whole. All right? 2,000 minus 1,500 is 500. Good. I'm going to breeze through this one because we'll talk about it with chapter 1. Profit or loss is equal to sales minus expenses. Okay? Sales minus expenses. If it's a positive number, it's profit. If it's a negative number, it's a loss. Okay? So in this case, 2,000 minus 1,500 is equal to 500. Okay? In my previous examples, we had pounds, we had ounces as our units. What's our unit here? Dollars. So this symbol is our units and it gives meaning to that number. Okay? 25 times 0.9. 22.5. Thank you. Okay. What is our expected yield? About 25 pounds of potatoes with a 90% yield factor. Okay, now I admit there's a lot of terminology, there's a lot of vocabulary in these sentences. This is just very high level. We're rushing through it. We're going to go through each one of these concepts in more depth in a later chapter. Okay, but I'm just using this as an example to show you that we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. That's it. And we'll do a lot more practice. Bless you. A lot more practice with these. Okay, so 25 pounds times. How did I get 0.9 from 90? I moved that decimal, right? Remember when we moved that decimal over 2? Now we're going to move that decimal place back over 2 to get our 0.9. Now, there is an imaginary 0 right there. Okay? It's there. It's not imaginary. It exists, but we just don't write it. But if for your comfort in your calculator, if you want to write 25 or type 25 times 0.90, then do it. If it makes you feel more comfortable with the answer, then do it. Okay. And this is going to be 22.5 pounds. So maybe I'm making potatoes, maybe I'm making French fries. Okay. And I'm gonna peel the potato. Or maybe I'm making mashed potatoes. I'm gonna peel that potato. That peel weighs something. The rest of the potato is what I'm gonna process. Okay. So this yield factor is dependent on your preparation. If I'm taking a potato and just like slicing it for French fries with the skin on, I'm going to have a higher yield factor. I'm going to have higher yield. I'm going to get more out of that potato. Okay. May not get 100% because I may still have to cut off some bad spots, but at least I'm going to get a higher than 90%. But this tells me, what if I need 100 pounds of potatoes for a recipe? Do I just order 50 pounds? Sorry, 25 pounds. If I need 50 pounds for 50 pounds of potatoes for a recipe, do I just order 2 bags of 25 pounds? No, because bless you, what's going to happen? I'm going to lose some product. And then I'm going to end up with 45 pounds. And I won't have enough potatoes. So that's also the purpose of this class, is to help you understand that you need to order the correct amount so that you can actually produce what you need to sell your product so you don't run out. Okay. All right. This is the last one. 2.25 divided by 0.32. Oh my gosh, we don't finish before 8 o'clock after all. All right. What is my answer? 7.03. Good. Now let's put it into context. What price should we sell our entree for if the cost equals $2.25 and we're aiming for a 32% food cost? Okay. So $2.25. Actually, hold on. Before we do that, write this in your notes, please, because there will be a quiz on Wednesday next week at the beginning of class. Okay. I'm telling you about your pop quiz on Wednesday next week. It's the first 15 minutes of class. Okay. So if you log in late or come in late, the quiz is only going to be open for 15 minutes. Okay. I would like you to draw this triangle fairly large, maybe about half a page or a quarter of a page size. Okay. Draw this triangle in your notes page. The top portion is going to be the word cost. Okay. The top portion is the word cost. The bottom portion, we have percent in one segment. Okay. And we have sales in the other. Okay? Sales and menu selling price, they're interchangeable. Think about it this way. If we're talking about menu selling price, like we are in this right here, we're talking about one chicken fried steak. How much should I sell one chicken fried steak for if it costs me $2.25 to make it? Okay. If we're talking about sales, we're gonna say how much does it cost if we put all the chicken fried steak together that we sold? So not just one entree, but how much do we do for all the chicken fried steaks that we sold in that particular meal period? Okay. So that's the difference between sales and menu selling price. This is the whole sales. This could be $3 million. It could be $100,000. Menu selling price is just one item. Okay. Keep that in mind. So this horizontal line going side to side, what mathematical function does that look like?
Division.
It looks like division. Okay. So what I'd like you to do is to go ahead and draw a division sign right here in the middle. I'll back up in just a second so you can see. If you want to draw a box around it, you can to make it stand out, but basically just to draw a division sign, just like that. Okay. And what is the opposite of division? Multiplication. So this vertical line is your X. That's your multiplication. Up and down is X for multiplication. Questions, comments, concerns so far? We're on the home stretch. We're almost done. Okay. Now, how you use this tool to answer this question. This is a tool that I'm providing you so you don't have to memorize 3 different formulas. Just memorize this picture. It's a lot easier than trying to memorize 3 formulas. Okay. What is this question asking us for? Our selling price, right? It's asking for our selling price. So how we manipulate this tool is we cover up what we're looking for. So take your finger or your thumb and cover up that segment of sales. Okay? And then what's left over in your picture? Cost divided by percentage. And what is my problem up here? $2.25 divided by 32%. And that is equal to $7.03. How's that green in the back row? Can you guys see that green okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. All right, $7.03. Caleb, when's the last time you saw something on the menu for $7.03?
McDonald's.
Maybe McDonald's. Okay. So $7.03 is a really odd number. Okay. So what might we change it to? $7 even? No. $7? No. We don't want to go down, right?
$7.30.
Okay, $7.30 might be even a little bit more weird, but maybe $7.25 or $7.50 or $7.99, right? Or with this chicken fried steak, what if our customers are willing to pay $10? Okay, just because the math tells me I should sell it for $7.03 doesn't mean I have to sell it for $7.03. Now I don't want to go below it because this is the minimum.
Oh, yeah.
But if my customers and my guests would be willing to pay $10 for this plate, why not charge them $10?
Make it 12.
If you make it 12 and they're like, all of a sudden people aren't buying chicken fried steak anymore, you're like, oh, they're not willing to pay 12. Let's make it 11. Okay. And then at 11, if it picks up again, okay, great. Well, 11's the magic number. Okay. So this is how we're going to use this math to help us build our menu. How many of you been to like a local taqueria that has like 3 breakfast tacos for $3 in the morning? How are they making any money? Right? They're making money because, oh, you're buying 3 tacos for $3, $1 per taco, but then they're also going to sell you a coffee or a soda. Or you know what? You go there for breakfast and it's always great. So I'm going to go there for lunch now. So sometimes those items, like how many of y'all go to Sam's or Costco? right? They have what's always in the back of the store is their rotisserie chicken. Okay, how much is that rotisserie chicken? $4.95, $4.99, $5 for a whole rotisserie chicken. That is what we call in our industry, we call it a loss leader. Means they are intentionally losing money on that chicken. Because as you're walking to get that chicken, oh, here's some Pringles. And oh, here's this. Let me put this in my cart. And they're going to get you, right? That's why grocery stores put milk in the very back. Because you got to go through all those aisles to get to that milk. And you're going to be putting stuff in your cart along the way, right? There's a psychology all behind that. Once you realize that, you're like, wait a minute. Do I really need this? Do I really need to do this? Right? So please take a picture. If you wrote it on this purple paper, because you're going to leave the purple paper here, but take a picture of this, memorize this, because this will be on a quiz on Wednesday next week when the class first starts. Okay. I'm going to set it up in Canvas. It'll automatically open, okay, at 6:45. And so if you're here in class, you can start on your computer. If you're not in class and you're online on Zoom, you can start on your computer at home. Okay. Let me make sure I covered all my bases. Okay, the last thing I do want to say, I'm 1 minute over. The last thing I do want to say before you start packing up your stuff, there are a few more 7, 8, 9, and 10 examples. It is not required, it is optional, but here in the module, I'm going to post in the spring 2026 live recorded lectures. I just published, this is a class from, I think it was 2023, I can't remember when, but this is all the questions, all those 10 questions explained, right? So watch from the beginning until the 40-minute mark. If you want to skip forward to number 6 or 7 where we stopped, you can watch the last few examples, okay? It's not required, but I wanted you to get the percentage formula, the triangle, and those are the two main things I wanted to get out of that class or that class today. I will also post the recording of this class right here, okay? I post it in chronological order. So as we go, if you'll take a look real quick, the very bottom, if you ever are interested, this is my spring 2025. So there's chapter 2, 3, 4. I have all the videos for all my lectures from 2020 on to current day. So you can always go scroll to the bottom and look at other chapters if you want to. The very bottom of the, yeah. I move them out of the way so you don't see them. All right. So I will update your calendar and I will update the video link. Thank you all so much. A couple of things. Sorry, one more thing. Sorry. This is